My heart is so filled with joy every time I see people show some love. The world is a better place, only if we can live together. Unification, elimination towards segregation. Show some love to our brother.
In the same spirit, the delegation visited Leicester Peak, the second largest peak in Freetown, where they were greeted with some beautiful view of the city. Today, the delegation visited Bunce Island, the notorious slave port where people were brought and kept in inhumane conditions for months at times as they await their fate to be shipped off to faraway land to be sold as slaves.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bunce Island was founded around 1670 and it exported tens of thousands of Africans to different parts in the world. So here was the main point of no return to enter into Bunce Island. So here was the entrance, main entrance. So let's come in, please. Ladies and gentlemen, on this other side here, you are seeing cannons. These cannons were serving as a means of protecting the island during the time of slavery. 4 times Bunce Island was attacked. 4 times. And besides, when Bunce Island was in existence with other areas in terms of business, it was managed by 4 London-based companies. 4 London-based companies: the Gambian Adventures, the Royal African Company, which has an official recognition from the British Crown. We have the farms of Grant Oswald and John Alexander Anderson. And there were other people also who were private business people. They were just coming together, like we just come together and say, let us go and attack that island. So they were coming. So we have 4 major attacks, especially for pirates. And the last attack was done in 1794. That was the last time we attacked this island. And this building you are seeing now is the 6th one. They used to mark them here. Take 1 iron, then they brand the slaves, mark them. They are like this, on their backs, their stomach, their legs. So this is where they are doing the branding. This one, for example, and it's the same meaning like women who used to plant just 1, 2, and 3. It's the same meaning again for this one I'm trying to explain. So the first plant here and this first stone, it means fertility. So they will be sitting here, tied both in their neck and their legs. They will be tied here, sitting, waiting for their slave buyers to come. So one of the most important thing they were exchanging for human beings in those days was the gunpowder. They will proceed to this side. This side was for the men, and that was for the women. So there used to be a final point of no return. When they enter into that place and they go into the ship, this is where the ship used to be, here on this other side. When they go into the ship, and take them to different parts in the world. Today we tell you less women are the more men. And guess what? Your price will be determined how physically fit you are in those days. That is why we will be going to the exercising area where they used to take the place and exercise. So they will be there, taking there maybe 5 or 6 ropes, 50 or 60 of them to go and exercise. They will be jogging, without eating solid food. Maybe they will feed them once or 2 times a day. Their child for 6 months, always less than 6 months, and another person will take care of them over there, not their mothers. Another women will take care of these children. The mothers will go and work, or they will sell them as a slave instant. Yeah, as soon as you give birth to maybe 1, 2, 3 or 4 children, they consider you to be now physically fit, then they will sold you as a slave. You lost your way, they will tell you, if you want to walk by yourself, they will tell you, if you lost your way, take an object like this, you hit it on the road. They will hear the sound in the middle of the town, and just stand where you are, someone else is going to pick you from that particular point. So they are using this as a means of communication.
I'm going to pay.
Slowly, please. Yeah, step on the roof. I have to develop and stay for me to come here, keeping explaining all these things on a daily basis. So, this is just a brief history on behalf of Bunce Island, and in front here is written in English, then at the back is written in French. So 95, 1704, 1779, and the last time was 1794.
But now I'm found, was blind, but now I see.
So that's the first verse, and we call it as a tour guide verse because that's the only verse I do.
Children home, and I believe that we are those children of those descendants that you promised that you were going to bring their families home. Wanda's daughter is also one of those children, and Wanda had enough ear to hear and a heart's desire to bring her daughter's ashes here, and God, to lay them forth on these shores and in these waters. God, we know that she has gone on to be with you in the name of Jesus.
Father, thank you. Amen. Thank you for those that came home. Thank you for those that left fight. Thank you for those that died. Thank you for all of them. Because all of them matter. All of them matter. Thank you for the ones that decided to stay and live in another country so that we can come back. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. For me to come back home and putting Sister Shavonna Frazier in my passport. I don't stay on African Ancestry, but it was a miracle when I saw her post, and I couldn't believe it. And then when I talked to Sister Shavonna, and she had shared with me,
Understandably, they were all very emotional as they saw for themselves how their ancestors were treated and the conditions they had to endure. They reconcile their thoughts and take solace that their chains have finally been broken, as they, the descendants, have taken this journey and have returned home on behalf of their ancestors. After the emotionally filled day at Bunce Island, they then went to Tokyo, where they experienced what one of them called the Hawaii of Sierra Leone. They got to relax, unwind, and enjoy the beautiful scenery and white sand of Tokyo Beach and hang out with local kids.
It no matter who that you be, it no matter how far you dey, it no matter how far you come to. We not so strange and I so.
And the sound sensation.
I want to salute back there. You make a move sabano.
We arrived earlier in the evening when it was all bright, and they have had a tour of the hotel, of the resort. It's a beautiful resort. They've walked through the beaches. They've seen the beautiful sand, white sand of the Tokyo Beach, and they've had their dinner. And as behind me you can see there is a bonfire. It's a very beautiful environment. So I'm going to use this opportunity for them to summarize the past days that they've had. We've had a very eventful day wherein we went to Bow. They had a naming ceremony and participated in the cultural activities. They've been celebrated the Independence Day ceremony and see all the parades and the bands and the flags. And earlier today we went to Bunce Island, and where it became very emotional for all of them, in fact. And I'm going to bring their thoughts to you of what they think about the past few days.
So it was great. The children marching, the speeches given, one thing stuck out to me, the prayer and the openness that different religions were able to have the opportunity to pray and bless the administration and bless the efforts for the upcoming year.
So my overall experience here has been wonderful. I've soaked up so much history and culture in so little amount of time. But the most exciting part is that I'm doing this with my husband. We found out that we were of the same ethnic group. So for me, that means that we are even more connected.
I have returned. Not just on my own accord. I have fulfilled a legacy. I have a grandmother who followed Marcus Garvey, who was Mende, and my aunt, who is an older generation, explained to me how important she was in the Back to Africa movement. And she had actually bought tickets for us to come back. And it was never fulfilled because Marcus Garvey was exiled. So I feel as if I'm fulfilling my ancestors' dream as well. And it has validated for me, returning, that I have done the right thing to continue my family legacy. I also had my first grandson born March 16th. And how this relates to how I feel is I feel an obligation to make sure that he knows his culture, because he will be the next generation. So going to Bunce Island was extremely fulfilling. I did cry a lot. It was very emotional for me. Also, holding hands with my sisters and spreading my daughter's ashes all over the water. I did lose a child in 2016, so I got the opportunity to spread her ashes there as well. So had I not taken this opportunity, I would not have been further validated. Had I not gone to the village and be renamed, I wouldn't fully understand, as the Mende have kept reminding me of, that this is our culture. They don't say, this is my culture. They say, sister, this is our culture. So yes, I'm back home and I am so excited.
I was very honored to be welcomed like we were to the, our region, Bo. I'm very proud to be a part of that area, and they welcomed us with open arms like we never left.
So for the very first time, after 4 decades plus, I've been able to experience a day that actually meant freedom and liberty for those of my ancestry. For naming ceremony in Bo, I was given the name Joe, I guess along with the title Chief Joe, and Joe meaning firstborn son. And it was explained, it was the namesake of the paramount chief's great-grandfather, who was also Chief Joe in that area.
One thump on the mix. No joke, me tell you this. Turn Hardwave Records. Fine, bubble them like we. Now then they rush us. All them slay mama slay queens. Now then they rush us. Fine, bubble them like we. Now then they rush us. All them slay mama slay queens. Now then they rush us. The one that with the jeep and the sports car. Now then they rush us. We they eat chicken inside keke. They still they rush us. Fine, bubble